Welcome to Back to the Father, a show about the journey of life focused on our final end, which is God Himself, our loving Father. And now, here's your host, Dave Palmer.
And welcome to this week's edition of Back to the Father here on the Guadalupe Radio Network social media sites. Glad you're with us. We got the whole crew, including the prodigal son who has returneth to the fold, and we're very happy to have Sam Cavana with us. And we're glad you are as well. You know, we got a lot of people that check out this show. So if you are watching right now, stay till the end. Stay for the whole hour. If you are watching live, we want you to participate. You can do that in many different ways. You can call in. We love when you call. 877-757-9424. I say that every week. Don't typically get calls, but if you feel so inclined to call us up, we'd love to hear from you. Diane Xavier will take your call and put you on the air quotes, okay, because we're not really on the air so much. All right, so today in the Summa section of the show, we're going to be talking about St. Thomas Aquinas' teaching on the animals in the Summa Theologia. What did St. Thomas have to say about what he called brute animals, irrational animals? Do they have souls? And if so, what kind of souls do they have? Do their souls survive death? Do they go to heaven? Will there be any animals in heaven? Sometimes you probably have wondered that, or maybe your children have asked you that question. And what else? Yeah, and also, it's very interestingly, how were animals different after creation, before the fall? Okay, would there have been rattlesnakes? Would there have been, poisonous frogs? Would anything have harmed man? Okay, have a great quote from St. Augustine about that, which I think you're going to find very interesting. So let me, first of all, like I said, welcome everybody, and let me introduce you to the crew here at the KTH studio. First of all, Cecil Anderson, how you doing? Doing like quadruple duty today, right?
I am. I was going to be so happy and proud of myself. I was going to switch the camera to my camera, and then I forgot the cameras are backwards because I'm sitting where I'm not normally sitting. So I clicked Cecil, and I went to that.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Hi, I'm doing well. I'm wearing a beret, and I'm not entirely sure if those are summer or if they're more like winter. I feel like they're more winter.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm just breaking all, fashion rules right now. But that is my hat of the day.
Yeah, all the fashionistas are just beside themselves. They probably
so
all
upset. And I'm also still trying to figure out how you're supposed to wear this thing.
Yeah.
But it was my mom's.
It's supposed to be a little bit off center.
I think it is.
Yeah, you're not supposed to put it like right on top like that.
It was my mom's, and I don't know. I never saw her wear it, so I couldn't tell you.
And if you're just tuning in saying, why on a Thomas show are they talking about hats? Well, that's just become kind of a tradition here. Most of us remember to bring our hats. And speaking of, as I mentioned, Sam Cavana making his triumphant return. Good shot, by the way. We've got a shot of the two interns, and also Jonathan von Weber-Hansberg here as well.
Hello, yes.
Sans hat. So
I'm wearing my invisible hat, actually, today.
Okay. How you guys doing? Good to see you.
Good. Yeah. We're good.
Yeah. Bring a trivia question, Jonathan?
I did, finally, yes.
Good, okay.
Watch as he actually does it when we get to that portion of the show.
Well, he always says, no, I don't bring anything, and then he makes something up. I mean,
I don't make something up. I just remember something.
You remember something. Okay. All right. And Sam is contributing for the first time, I think, to Away a Day. He brought a picture with him, so
I do have a picture.
show and tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for doing that.
What's a pleasure. Yeah. I came kind of unannounced, so in true terms, this is like the prodigal son where the prodigal son does return without an announcement.
We did not kill the fattened calf.
Yeah.
I forgot
He
to
didn't
send
tell
an
us he was
email.
coming.
So we didn't really have any preparations done.
Yeah. Cecil's voice is a little froggy. Yeah, a little froggy today. Of course, Diane Xavier, as I mentioned, she's behind the glass. She's taking your calls. Just be patient. She's trying to get to them as quickly as possible. 877-757-9424. And if you are on social media, please let us know you're there. Last week we had somebody from Brazil watching this show live. And I think even if you watch it on a taped basis, you can still make comments, right? So if you're watching this recorded, make comments. Let us know what you think about all of it. There's 3 sections. There's Away a Day where we have observations of the natural world throughout the week, and we bring it in, we show you the pictures, and also connect it to God. Okay, how do these particular creatures connect to God? Then we have the teaching, and then we close everything out with a little bit of trivia. And you're always welcome to contribute anyway with trivia or Away a Day. You can even send us pictures if you want to. We'll give you a chance to explain your creature as well. So y'all ready to get started?
Oh yeah.
Oh, we've already started, right?
Well, yeah, that's
Let's
true.
let's
Absolutely.
get started. You guys were going to do a theme song for Away a Day? Did that?
We didn't
ever-
get a chance to record
Stay
it.
tuned though for
Okay.
next week because I think there's like a banjo song for Away
It's
a Day.
in the
that's-
works.
There is, yes.
It's in the
Okay.
writer's room still.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start off with prayer. Adrian Fonseca last week said, "Why don't you, do a prayer from St. Thomas Aquinas?" I thought it was a dandy idea. So here is a prayer straight from St. Thomas Aquinas. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. O merciful God, grant that I may desire ardently, search prudently, recognize truly, and bring to perfect completion whatever is pleasing to you for the praise and glory of your name. Put my life in order, O my God. Grant that I may know what you require me to do. Bestow upon me the power to accomplish your will as a necessary and fitting for the salvation of my soul. Grant to me, O Lord my God, that I may not falter in times of prosperity or adversity, so that I may not be exalted in the former nor rejected in the latter. May I not rejoice in anything unless it leads me to you. May I not be saddened by anything unless it turns me from you. May I desire to please no one, nor fear to displease anyone but you. May all transitory things, O Lord, be worthless to me, and may all things eternal be ever cherished by me. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Pretty dense little prayer there, isn't it? I think he's been reading the Summa because got some good Thomistic information in there. But straight from St. Thomas Aquinas. He was a great mystic in addition to an intellectual. He was known to have levitated. People witnessed him levitating. He used to say that he put his head against the tabernacle to be inspired. He said he learned more through prayer than he ever did through study. And so very, very much a holy man, and also the doctor of the doctors of the church, the angelic doctors. So, all right, let's go to Way a Day. As I mentioned before, this is where we talk about things that we notice during the week. It's kind of a spirituality of awareness, where you don't just see a tree or a frog or a flower or a butterfly, but you bring meaning to it in the big picture, in God's providence. It ties into the fifth proof for the existence of God, which has to do with the governance of the world. It ties into providence, even predestination to some degree. And so it's very Thomistic what we do at the beginning of the program. So, Sam, are you ready for yours?
I'm ready.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is Sam's first contribution, and
Yeah.
he's going to explain this picture, which I love. You got like the real low angle there. That's kind of
thank
cool.
you.
Good photography there.
Thank
so,
you,
well,
yeah.
what's this all about?
So I went on a walk this morning, and I must say it was very, very wonderful because the weather is finally at the point where it's like about 70 degrees, so it wasn't burning hot in Texas, and also all the people were out, and everyone was like, "Hey!" So the walk was great for that sense, but also on the way home, it was at the point where the sun was really, really orange, and so the goal of this picture was to get a shot of the sun. But it kind of highlights the grass a little more, which is okay. But
Yeah.
I was going to talk about the sun a little. And I think the thing I was thinking about is just how crazy it is that the sun is so huge and so far away, but also kind of incredibly chaotic. And all at the same time, it was almost like super peaceful. And I don't know if the word is like still. That's kind of a weird way of describing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It was just kind of, it was nice to see like, almost like a sun that's not fully risen yet,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't
The
know.
sun's a gas, right? Isn't it gaseous?
I think
I
so.
think so.
It's
yeah.
not solid.
No.
I mean, if you were able to get to the sun and you like poked it, which we'd never
I
recommend
don't
doing.
think we could
Yeah.
get that close, but yes.
Yeah, but if you could, maybe you had like a big suit on or something
Yeah,
that
yeah,
allowed
like
you
an
to do
Iron Man
that.
suit
You
probably
wouldn't
would
be
work.
able to like knock on the sun. It's all gaseous.
Mhm.
So I wonder, how does it all hold together? I mean, why does it
Yeah.
not just kind of, like
Come around and
like
burn
like a
us?
gas in a room wouldn't hold together. It would all disperse, right?
Yeah, it would.
So I wonder how it holds together. I don't know. Just
Yeah.
thinking.
Hopefully someone sciencey in the comments can let us know.
Yeah.
Sciencey.
Sciencey.
Is Kent Loney watching?
Yeah, it would be helpful if he was actually.
Yeah. All right. Well, nice picture.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I love. Like I said, I love the angle. It's very low, and you know why the sun appears red and all those different orange and all that. Why? Like if it's up in the middle, up high, it doesn't look that way. It's only when it's down low. Do you know why?
No.
I don't.
So like all the refraction, because it's all the dust and all the things that are on the low
Oh, that's
levels. And
cool.
so as it gets to you, it's bouncing off all these things. And so the refraction of the light turns it color. So anyways, just a little fun fact.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right, let me do mine. Sissel has one here that we're going to go through. So I went to the creek last Monday because it was a holiday, Labor Day. And I got this picture of all these little minnows. Okay, do you see the minnows?
So cute.
And the cool thing about minnows is I'm trying to find, like what's the purpose of a minnow? Why,
They
why,
feed
why,
the
why?
sharks. I mean, the sharks,
sharks.
and minnows. You
Yeah.
know?
Do you think there's any purpose for minnows other than being food? I mean, can you think of
They
anything?
eat algae. I know that.
Yeah, don't
and
they,
microscopic
like-
stuff off plants. And they kind of clean up a little bit.
Don't they
but-
clean off whales? No.
No, that's the
that's the other thing.
yeah.
That's
What are those
another.
things
That's another
called? They
fish.
they suck the
Yes.
lamprey, or is that
Something like that. I was trying
Yeah.
to remember if that's what they were. No, so they. Yeah, then I don't know.
Yeah, I think the main purpose is that they're just food. It's like what people use when they fish. The turtles like to eat them. The snakes like to eat them. The other fish like to eat them. Birds like to eat them, and so it kind of makes you realize that they really don't have much value other than just being eaten. And then maybe some of the other little things like what Jonathan was talking about, eating algae and cleaning things up, right?
Yeah.
And of course, they need to eat something as well, so they're not at the bottom of the food chain, but they're pretty darn close.
Poor little minnows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Their
yeah.
existence.
Imagine
to be
if your whole existence
It
was
wants to
just being
be
food. Like the only reason we're here is because there's some other big creature that wants to eat us, and God created us just to be eaten. I mean, that would change my level of esteem for myself.
Yes,
I think.
just a little bit.
Yeah,
You know?
just
maybe.
a little bit. just
Yeah.
a tad.
Good thing they're not self-aware.
Yeah, good lead in to what we're talking about today, self-awareness. All right, this has got to be one of the coolest away-a-days I've done.
Oh boy.
So tell me when you guys have you all see this
Not
yet?
yet.
Okay,
It's coming
just
coming. It's
so I'm
coming. I can see
I'm
it.
driving to the creek, and like on the side of the road are these big, like the size of dogs, birds, which are these black American vultures. These things are huge. I mean, very big. And the funny thing is I'm far away, and I'm like, oh, I gotta take a picture of these things, right? And so I take a picture because I'm not sure how close they're gonna let me get. And then I get closer and closer and closer. I get within like as far as I am from you guys, and they're not leaving. They're like, dude, well, I'll eat you if you die. I mean, they were not
Oh,
intimidated at
man.
all. And so they're eating an armadillo, which apparently had been, killed by a car, right? And there's, as you can see in the picture, there's like 10 of them. The 10 of these big vultures. So here's the point. Okay, so an armadillo dies, and of course it's going to start the corruption, the bodily corruption process. After a while, it's going to get smelly, disease-ridden, just kind of gross. And what has God done? He's provided a creature that likes to eat it. I mean, I don't want to eat it. I don't know many people that want to eat
I don't
it.
normally like to eat my food that's been run over by a car.
Yeah.
I don't usually put a pile of spaghetti outside and run it over on my car.
Yeah.
And then, yes,
it makes
let me
it,
eat
yeah,
this now.
kind of takes the appeal out of
Just
it,
a
doesn't
little
it?
bit. Just a bit.
Okay, now here's the thing, because I did some research on vultures. They can smell carrion, which is basically rotting flesh, a mile away. So if they're flying around a mile away, they can smell it. If there's a dead rabbit on the road a mile away, none of us are smelling it, right?
No.
But why did God give them that? Because they need it, right?
Are they like all over America? Or are they like, are there certain parts of the world they're in more than others? Or are there some parts that they don't exist at all?
I think they need vultures everywhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say
but
that's
also
what
buzzards are in the same
Buzzards, yeah.
family, and of course they're not the only animal that does that. But you ever notice also, you would think that just for safety's sake, they would pick the darn thing up and fly away
Yeah,
with it,
take it
like eat it
away.
in a tree or something. You know why they don't do that? Take a wild guess. Why do they not? Why do they sit there in the middle of the road eating something when they could just carry it away?
Is that something to do with like a social structure? They all gather around.
Good guess, but I don't.
Well, I don't
They
know.
have a ceremonial
You're
dance
thinking
before
of
they
the
eat it.
crows.
Thinking of
with
crows,
the funerals. No, they have very weak legs and very weak claws.
Oh.
Now, I don't know why they need it that way. I guess God just wants us to see them do that. But it might also have something to do with that, so that one doesn't carry it away and they all have
Yeah.
to share it. Is that kind of what you were getting at?
Yeah, kind of, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Power
then this
struggles.
way, but it's funny in the picture. There's like 2 of them chowing down, and all the other ones are like, 10 feet away from it.
We
Maybe
actually we have a lot of them in Anna, and they're known to just block roads and not move for the car. You have to stop your car and shoo them away before you can keep driving.
yeah.
Whoa,
I feel
that's
like
crazy.
You don't want to shoo, like, get out of the car.
Well,
and
they're not gonna attack you or anything.
then- Yeah, it's true.
Well, I've never been attacked, at least.
Yeah, but if you died,
You're gonna be attacked.
yeah.
you're,
You are lunch.
yeah, that's right. It's kind of gross.
You kind of gotta know.
Yeah.
You're like, where do I not want to die?
Yeah, did you ever see that?
Outside.
Did you see that Pulitzer Prize winning photo from many years back where there was? I mean, it's very sad, but this poor kind of malnourished child in somewhere like
Oh, yes,
Africa or
yes.
something, and then off in the distance you see this vulture.
Oh yeah.
And of course, the photographer would not have allowed the child to die, but the point was the vulture even recognized that this child was at the point of death. I mean, it was a very poignant picture. That's why it won the Pulitzer Prize. Okay, let's move on. I thought that was pretty cool. So
It is.
the last one I have, I finally did get down to the creek, after avoiding the vultures and all that. I lift up a rock, and I'm going to show you this picture and tell me there's actually 2 creatures, like two,
Oh, I see.
two living creatures here, and tell me what you see. One of them's pretty obvious. What do you see there? And if you're watching from the comfort of your home and you want to tell me what you see here, one is pretty obvious. Do you see anything else? I don't even hear anybody saying anything. What do you see? Oh, so you guys don't see it yet.
Yeah.
I
that's-
see it.
Oh, I see it now.
do you see the second one?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah, I see it.
So that's like an earthworm, right? The big one.
yeah.
And then the little
earthworm.
one, is that like a little caterpillar? Or
I think
something?
it's the centipede.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a
that's
centipede. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So the
appreciate it.
earthworms, do you know that they say that if there were no earthworms, because God, of course, blesses the world with earthworms. Most of the time you don't see them because they're underground. There'd be more flooding, there'd be less food, and there'd be more pollution. If it wasn't for these...
How do they deal with the flooding? Like, how do they help that?
Any guesses?
They aerate the ground so the water can seep into it.
Exactly, yeah. Because
They
anywhere they go, they're leaving a little
like,
tunnel.
make holes.
Yeah, so then the water has
Places to
ways
go.
of getting down to the dirt and all that. So very valuable.
Yeah.
And they're hermaphroditic.
Mm-hmm.
They have male and female sex
Oh
organs.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Oh.
so kind of weird.
Is
We
it
don't
one
need
and
that we
female?
don't need that in 2021 for God to
Yeah.
confuse genders. I mean, come on, God, dude, that's the last thing
It's
we
an
need.
animal. They're not human.
Confused worms.
Users. Aren't they like one end is female and the other end is male? Is that how it
I
works?
think
Something
so.
Like that?
Yeah.
That's
I
weird.
remember learning that in Girl Scouts.
Kind of weird,
Mm-hmm.
but they are definitely creatures for the 21st century. With I wouldn't say sexual confusion because it's perfectly normal for them, right?
Right.
To do that. So, anyways, yeah. So earthworms, and then the centipede. I haven't done much research on yet. Although they do not have 100 legs. They're called centipedes, but they have far fewer than 100 legs. But that just happens to be their name, right? All right, moving on. Any thoughts? Any comments from you guys back in social media land? We know you're out there.
Oh, dear,
okay.
Dave.
All right. Never
It's
mind.
too early. We're a week early.
Okay. All right. Here is I was actually present when Sissel found this beauty. Let's put this one up on the screen.
Yes.
I even like the background. I mean, everything about this picture is beautiful.
Can I now admit that I did not take this photo?
Was my daughter?
Yes.
Oh, really?
So the picture I got, she managed to capture it with the wings open. I was unable to capture it with the wings open, so she chased it down and she got it. So it's a really gorgeous photo on top of these flowers. So
Just the thought of her chasing down a
well,
butterfly.
I say chased out. She ran around to the other side. She put more effort into it than I did. And I was like, "Can you send me that so I can have the better
Yeah.
picture?" Okay, so I've been on a little adventure today, and I have so far failed. I'm really hoping someone watching is like a butterfly expert because someone who just like really knows their butterflies. This is an orange butterfly, and your first glance you might be like, "Oh, it's a monarch," but it doesn't actually look like a monarch. A monarch has a lot more black on it. And I was doing some research, and I found a photo of a butterfly that looks just like this, but I can't find the name of it. So if anyone knows what it is, I would greatly appreciate knowing. But some things that the butterflies do to help the I guess animal kingdom, first off, they do eat a bunch of different bugs. They also are
So that they
food.
eat bugs. Do they really?
They
They're not
eat-
just like nectar.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
I know, I didn't either. They do pollination. You know, they bring pollen from place, obviously. And what was the other thing that I thought was really, really cool? They also provide food for other. They are food for some people.
People?
Sorry, for other creatures. I'm sure
somebody's eating butterflies.
These. Yes, by like birds, spiders, lizards, and things like that. But yeah, so they do quite a few things. They they kind of migrate from different places, and I would like to say that I think they provide beauty to humans because I think they're really beautiful.
Yeah. Also a sign of the resurrection because they start off as these little.
Yes,
they start off literally as grubs, right?
Yeah.
Caterpillars. Caterpillars. Some of them are kind of pretty, but most of them are just kind of weird looking. And for that to come out of a caterpillar, I mean, that's like a absolute complete transformation. It's like me going into a sleeping bag and coming out, like an eagle or something. Because they don't even look anything alike, do they? I mean, where do those wings come from? I mean, it's an amazing thing that God just continues to wow us with the beauty of His creation. So, all right, anybody help you with the butterfly question or no?
What type of butterfly my butterfly is? I'll put it up on the screen one more time so you can see it.
There it is.
My pretty butterfly that I have named Herbert.
Herbert the butterfly.
Herbert the butterfly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the difference between butterflies and moths?
They're prettier.
Yeah.
They have
But
wings.
there are some gorgeous moths though, and there got to be some ugly
there
The
are.
butterflies.
giant ones are really
There
cool.
are-
I love those.
Yeah.
There's some funky looking moths too.
Yeah, there are. Yeah. I think that it has something to do with like when they're at their like relaxed position. I think the butterflies are the ones that bring their wings up all the way like this. I
Yeah.
don't think moths do that.
But I don't think
see.
moths, most of them can't. They
Yeah.
don't
They
go
only
up.
have their
They go
bodies
Yeah, right.
quite a bit bigger, aren't they?
So the moths their wings only go down.
Yeah, they can spread out and down instead of going backwards.
Yeah, but when you see something that brings its wings all the way up to the top, then I think that has to be a butterfly.
All
Okay,
right.
so yeah,
That's very scientific. Let's go. I'll take it.
let's go with it.
Let's go with it. Yeah, there are some very pretty moths, though. I feel like moths have a very distinctive look. I feel like their bodies are very, I don't know. Butterflies, I feel like their bodies get lost in their wings, whereas moths, their bodies are more distinctive. Is that just me? They're like fuzzy or
No,
something.
they're
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah, the bodies are bigger.
Bigger,
than
yeah. And I think also you don't see butterflies flying around the lights at night.
Right.
It's
They
all
don't do
because
that.
I think moths tend to be more nocturnal. Butterflies during the day, no moths at night. I guess they just can't share a stage together. They gotta, one's got to leave when the other one comes. The moths eat clothing. You never heard of like
I forgot
butterfly
about that.
balls in your
Butterfly
closet. Yeah, I mean, think about it. You don't have butterfly balls in your closet, do you? Why is that so funny?
It just sounds so funny.
It doesn't roll off the tongue, does
No,
it?
it doesn't.
Butterfly balls.
So small.
Okay, moving on. We're going to kind of keep the theme of animals for the program today. I found a quote from St. Augustine. I had him on my hat that I find really fascinating. But today we're going to talk about St. Thomas Aquinas' teaching on the animals in the Summa. There is no whole section of the Summa about animals, but you have to kind of search around to find what Thomas has to say about them. Oftentimes it's more like in comparison to human beings in relation to what he said. All right, so little trivia here. Do you guys remember the 6 days of creation? Remember that
I do.
short-term memory, because we did those the last few weeks. First day was light was created but without form, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Second day was the firmament. Third day was the separation of the waters and the earth. The land emerged, right? But then on the fourth and fifth and sixth day, he started populating, adorning the world. So the sun and the moon was day 4. And do you remember which creatures, like living creatures, were created first, like on the 5th day? Do you remember that?
Wasn't it land, sea, and sea and sky? Or that wrong?
Yeah,
Sea
yeah,
and sky,
yeah.
not land. I added that one in there, and I was like, that's
Yeah,
that would be
birds
everything.
and fish.
Birds and fish.
Okay, so Thomas is going to say that the birds and the fish were created first because they were less perfect. Okay, so he's
Ooh.
creating.
Oh man,
them
come on.
Kind
Those are
of.
the two
bird
best
watchers.
animals.
Yeah, but look what he says here. He says, amongst the animals, like in the middle here,
yeah.
those that live on land are generally speaking more perfect than birds and fishes. Not because the fish is devoid of memory, as Basil upholds and Augustine rejects. It's funny, these church fathers are debating about whether birds have memories. That's
amazing.
Isn't that funny? I mean, you think of these profound thinkers, and they're like, yeah, they do have memories. No, they don't. Yeah, they do. I mean,
I would love to be at the dinner table just to kind of like
I know,
listening
like some
to this.
ecumenical council has to be called about whether birds have memories or not. And so then he says, but because their limbs are more distinct and their generation a higher order. You got to admit, I mean, like human legs are like a little more sophisticated than a fin.
Yeah, we can't fly though.
Yeah, that's true.
We can't lay
They can't
eggs.
breathe underwater.
Exactly.
Okay. Would you give up your legs for wings?
I might.
I mean, we just get to flutter everywhere.
And I don't have the power, by the way, to do that. But I'm just
You're not
curious.
a genie. Come on, man.
We can just flutter
but
everywhere.
and then he says that in Scripture, towards the bottom here, the birds fish are not referred to as living creatures.
What?
He says they are merely bodies having in them something of a soul. So he's like showing no respect to the fish here.
Oh dear.
Okay, whereas land animals are living souls with bodies subject to them. All right, so there's three kinds of soul. We have all three in one. Kind of like, body wash, shampoo, and conditioner, the 3-in-1. We have the vegetative soul, the sensitive soul, and the rational soul, all in one.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so I know that the vegetative soul is the one that plants typically have.
Yeah.
So does that mean that Aquinas is saying that fish have vegetative souls?
No, fish have sensitive souls.
Oh, okay.
Well, they would have a vegetative soul, but they have the 2-in-1.
Oh, okay.
They don't have the body wash. They just have the conditioner and the shampoo. Okay.
No body wash. Okay, cool.
Yeah. No. So they have 2-in-1. We have 3-in-1. The plants and the trees have 1-in-1. Okay. So the vegetative soul is like the circulation of blood, the kind of the involuntary parts of us. The things that are happening within us that we're not consciously thinking of. That'd be like the part of our soul that's vegetative, and that's what plants have. I mean, they're vascular. They've got stuff going up and down. They got the photosynthesis process going and all kinds of stuff, producing nectar, and they've got reproductive organs and all that. But nothing conscious. You were talking about self-consciousness earlier, right? With the fish, or yes, or self-awareness. Yeah, so there's no self-awareness, no mobility. Right, then you get in the sensitive soul, and that's where you can feel pain. So any animal that you like squished and it felt something, it would have a sensitive soul, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't
dear.
go doing that though. Like when when the car hit the armadillo, it has a sensitive soul, so it felt pain, right? Okay, so all right, so now here's the cool thing. Now look at this picture when it comes up. That is not something I actually witnessed, but would there have been poisonous creatures, venomous creatures, after creation, before the fall? What do you think? Would there have been rattlesnakes?
I feel like
don't
there's
think
two
would.
ways we can look at this. They're either they didn't exist, or they did exist, but they would never attack humans.
Why not?
I don't know, because God said that they wouldn't.
I think that they existed, but they weren't venomous or poisonous yet.
Yeah, there
Okay.
you go. They existed
So
without.
do you see the picture yet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
here.
so
I can-
that's that kind of pit viper or whatever that is, rattlesnake. I don't think there's any rattlesnakes that color, but so you're saying they would have the fangs, but just no venom coming out, or until after then when the fall happened, everything went crazy and
Yeah.
changed. What? is
Well,
that-
actually, maybe not, because wasn't the snake created at the fall?
yeah.
Because it was a lizard, and then he took away his legs and cursed him to crawl. Remember?
Oh.
Yeah. In Genesis, when after.
Yeah, well, yeah, because he cursed the snake, cursed Adam, cursed.
And he
cursed
removed the
Eve.
legs, so he had to crawl in his belly.
Yeah.
So
Well, get a load of this, because I find this really fascinating. This is Augustine. This is that quote that I wanted to share from Augustine. I'll just read it all. And he makes an analogy here, talking about whether there would have been poisonous and venomous creatures after the fall. I'm sorry, before the fall, after creation. And he comes down saying, yes, there was. Here's what he says. He says, in the words of Augustine, if an unskilled person enters the workshop of an artificer, and he sees in it many appliances of which he does not understand the use, and which, if he is a foolish fellow, he considers unnecessary. Moreover, should he carelessly fall into the fire or wound himself with a sharp-edged tool, he is under the impression that many of the things that are hurtful, many of the things there are hurtful, whereas the craftsman, knowing their use, laughs at his folly. And thus some people presume to find fault with many things in this world through not seeing the reason for their existence. For though not required for the furnishing of our house, these things are necessary for the perfection of the universe. And since man, before he sinned, would have used the things of this world conformably to the order designed, poisonous animals would not have injured him. So it's kind of like what Sissel said a moment ago. They were there, but they wouldn't have done any harm because he had complete mastership over the animals. And so there would have been venomous snakes. There would have been, but they would have never. There was perfect order. They would not have turned on man. They would have not, because venomous snakes don't just use their venom on humans. They use their venom to kill their food, right?
So they still would have been using, so they still would have been killing things, just wouldn't have been like between man and animals. It would have just been between
But
animals.
wouldn't venom cause a lot of suffering, though? I mean, animals that get bitten by a snake suffer for a while, or, they're strangled to death or something.
Yeah. So you're saying there's no suffering at all before the fall?
I always thought there wasn't. That's what I always heard.
No animals, complete order, but they would have been reproducing and just kind of like nothing's dying, or...
You got a point, I guess. But
I
it's not
don't know.
that venom just causes suffering,
Was the idea of dying even introduced before the fall?
Yeah. I mean,
because I know it's an animal, but still it's dying. So I'm just asking.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I should know this. Yeah. There was no death for humans, but was there any death for, the little ants live forever,
Yeah. Or did you accidentally step on one?
Yeah.
just
saying, it happens.
Yeah, and they just don't die.
Sometimes less accidentally.
And Jonathan's saying maybe they don't even feel any pain. They're just like, hey,
They're
thanks.
just like, oh, thanks for stepping on me.
No
Let's
problem.
push my guts out. I appreciate it.
They wouldn't have lost their guts this time either. Interesting.
go.
Okay, so I found that a neat analogy.
It is.
Okay, so Thomas also asks in the Summa about man's mastership over the animals in the state of innocence. I think we've discussed this a little bit on a previous show. He says, for his disobedience to God, man was punished by the disobedience of those creatures which should be subject to him. Therefore, in the state of innocence, before man had disobeyed, nothing disobeyed him that was naturally subject to him. This is something you never hear of these days. Like if a grizzly bear attacks a human being, or somebody, God forbid, gets bit by a snake or stung by a wasp, or you never hear anybody say, well, that's the fault of original sin. Think about that.
Yeah.
Imagine if somebody in the secular world, just kind of threw that in there.
It's why it happened, man.
Yeah. Well, gosh darn Adam and Eve,
I like how we talk about, that we don't have the control over the animals, or they're not obedient and stuff like that. I always think then about my dog, who will never do what I say to do. I'm like, no, don't touch that food. 5 seconds later, touch the food,
And there would have been no pet trainers back then. You wouldn't need them.
You would have had no job. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's like, I got this under control. My dog does anything I ask him to.
Oh, man, imagine that.
That would be cool.
Yeah. We had Cocker Spaniels growing up, and they're really dumb dogs. And we used to, we'd be at dinner, and we'd hear a honking of a horn outside, and we'd say, oh, Caesar, because that was our dog's name. Caesar must be lying in the middle of the road again.
Oh, my God.
And there'd be somebody trying to drive down our street, and Caesar was sleeping in the middle of the road. So I don't think that would have happened before the fall. I think
probably not.
Even the Cocker Spaniels would have been.
My dogs are selectively smart or dumb, depending on the day.
Get this, because I know there's a debate about whether we should hunt. Animals. The animals have rights. Thomas says, the philosopher Aristotle says that the hunting of wild animals is just and natural because man thereby exercises a natural right over the animals. And it is proved by the order of divine providence, which always governs inferior things by the superior, Wherefore, as man being made to the image of God is above the other animals, these are rightly subject to his government.
Take
All
that,
right.
PETA.
What's that?
Take that, PETA.
Yeah, I mean, there have been countries that have given like human rights to like apes and gorillas.
I heard a cow got a lawyer in Germany. I know.
Is that right? Yeah.
That's
Who
what they're up
paid
to
the
now.
bill for the
But I
lawyer?
mean, and the fact that we laugh is because we know that the cow can't pick up the phone and call. You're going to have a human being
Who's
helping,
paying
right?
for this lawyer? I want to know.
Yeah.
Probably PETA.
Okay. What about? Do y'all have an opinion? And this is more of an opinion kind of thing about things like SeaWorld and zoos.
Ooh.
Some people don't think that.
I mean, I think as long as you're not being cruel to them, there's no issue with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
keep fish in an aquarium. I have a dog in my house. I'm containing him, but he's living a happy life. I mean,
Yeah, I think it's just all a matter of, is it going to be detrimental to their health or something
Yeah.
like that, what you're doing? Which there have been a lot of zoos who have,
Mhm.
especially in the past, who have done bad things and stuff like that. But if they're endeavoring, because I think there's also the thing about it is educational and it's good for people to learn about
Exactly.
it too.
Yeah. And if we have mastership over the animals and we want to teach our kids about animals, then we would have a right to, maybe, the killer whale or what have you would have more freedom out in the ocean. And it's a little bit more constrained living in, San Antonio at SeaWorld. But you have to balance that with what's the benefit that's coming from us learning a lot about them, right? Animal trials, like testing cosmetics and, I think things like vaccines, testing them on animals. A lot of people don't think that they should do that either.
I don't know.
Anyways.
That's hard.
Lots of things to consider. All right, 36 minutes after the hour. This is Back to the Father, and got a couple more slides here to talk about. Okay, so do animal souls survive death? Why or why not?
Time for the talk about that.
Uh-oh. It just got serious.
Well, it's called subsistence, because I think we would think that if one of us dropped dead, God forbid, during the show, that wouldn't be the end of us. We would think that our soul survived, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because our souls are subsistent, but Thomas says that animal souls are not subsistent. So when the composite dies, the soul and the body die together, and there is no continuation. It's end of game, It's over. But not with us. We get to continue to live on. Any thoughts?
Question.
Sam, you're being awful quiet over
Well,
there.
no, I was just thinking, like, that's always, people always ask, like, would my dog go to heaven or something like that?
We're going
And
to
I-
get to that.
Yeah. I kind of wonder, I mean, I guess the answer is probably no then. But
I have a question though. Will there be animals in the resurrection? In glory?
Ooh,
In-
Whoa.
We're actually going to get to that next.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's exactly what he asks.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
'cause,
Right.
because you think about it. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, anyways, the whole thing, as you can see in this paragraph here, is that philosophers of old used to mistake and say there's only a material world, there's no spiritual world. And then Plato came along and said basically everything is spiritual, because he believed in the world of ideas, and the corporal world didn't really matter that much. And then Aristotle comes along and says, no, it's kind of both and. We have the material world, we have the spiritual world, and the human being is both, right? But the animal doesn't have, like getting back to what you said before, self-awareness. Like to be self-aware means you have to kind of step outside of yourself, right? And you have to be able to contemplate yourself from the outside. And there's no real indication that any brute creature does that. That's able to contemplate, like, how their life is going, or, maybe their goals, or, 5-year plan, or, they don't think about these kind of things. There's no indication that they do. Somebody may say, well, how do you know they don't? Well, there doesn't seem to be a lot of indication that they do, is there? That they're like self-awareness,
No.
kind of
not
like
really.
those minnows.
No.
Okay. Well, interesting stuff, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes me think about how, not to be egocentric on the human side, but it just makes me think about how amazing it is that, like, there's such a difference between how humans process things with their rationale and then animals. Like, I don't know. I don't, thinking about animals, this is also kind of with a way a day. Thinking about animals, I think, helps to just show how special human beings really are.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know how like even like the ancient Egyptians would bury their dead with things, like because they had they believed that they were going to take them to the next life. And I don't know the answer to this, but I'm guessing I do. But has there ever been any brute animal life that shows any reason for us to believe that they think that there's something beyond this world?
No.
Like, are they burying their dead, with food? Are they, or like things,
No.
I don't think there is.
They're food for the vultures.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they're not hanging around.
Yeah, I mean, there's no indication that they think that there's anything beyond this,
Yeah.
right? And they're not writing poetry and
I feel like I've heard of some animal that does something like they'll put food on top of a dead animal, if they bond, it's like if they mate for life, they'll do something like they'll bring food to the dead bird or something like that. Because I know
right.
geese mate for life, and
so they'll bring even after they know it's died, they'll bring food. To it.
I think so. They'll do something, and I know that if they if
you're making her cry, Jonathan. Come on.
Why do we always talk about sad things with animals? I feel like whenever Jonathan talks, talk about ducklings being eaten by turtles last week.
I know that was the worst.
well, that's like just saying.
Yeah,
you can't handle the facts.
I have the ability to take you off camera, and it's very tempting right now.
I had somebody that observed the show, and they said, Jonathan's very serious, isn't he? I was like, no, not really. I don't know. So maybe you're...
He's just brutal, that's all.
Yeah, he's serious.
Facts.
He's serious about animals, so let's just say that. Okay, let's talk about Thomas's... the last one that we're going to discuss is... this one, whether the plants and animals will remain in this renewal. And by the renewal... he's talking about what Jonathan just said, the resurrection of the dead. So it's not so much, are there going to be animals in heaven? Now, I want to get one person out there who is watching us live to comment on this. Do you think there are going to be dogs and cats and gerbils and parakeets in heaven? I kind of think it would be fun if there were.
I think it'd be fun.
I think that if, when we go during the resurrection, if essentially we're supposed to come to what it was all supposed to be initially, if there are animals there initially, then there would be.
Mm-hmm. But come back to
what it was supposed to be before we messed it up.
Because they were around before we were,
mm-hmm.
right? Because they were created before us. Well, it's I'll tell you what. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say I wonder, if there might be like animals. I don't know if it's specifically gonna be like my dog Chirpa is gonna be in heaven. You know what I mean?
Just like some generic animals. Or?
Well, that sounds really bad, but like, is specifically, or is it just like when you have a new earth, is there God just gonna have animals there?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And not necessarily like, here are all the 5 dogs I owned in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not sure.
You're saying you're like specific.
Is it my
dogs.
dog? Honestly, Chirpa is gets herself into trouble way too much to ever go to heaven, but so that's, I wonder if that would be the case.
Yeah.
Or would dogs even be in heaven, because those are kind of a creation of man in a sense, that we, through breeding, a dog is a separate,
that we made them special, like house pets.
Exactly, yeah.
companions.
Or would just be wolves instead.
Well, I mean, they're for our good. They also make us feel smart. I mean, because like dogs are like kind of stupid, and dogs. I mean, dogs are great.
They make us feel loved, even though they really just want the pats and the food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or like, oh, they love me. No, they just want to steal from me.
Yeah, cats. My goodness,
my
that's
gosh,
a whole other
cats
issue.
Just cats. Come on.
Let's not even talk about that.
Sorry to the cat
okay.
lovers.
All right. Here's what he says: if plants and animals are to remain, after the resurrection, either all of them will or some of them. If all of them, then dumb animals which had previously died.
Those dumb animals. They won't die. Come on.
Will have to rise again, just as men will rise again. Now that's your point. Trippa, is that the name of it?
Chirpa, yeah.
Okay. But this cannot be asserted, for since their form comes to nothing, they're not subsistent, they cannot resume the same identical form. Because he's saying the form's dead. I mean, their souls are dead. So if something's dead, it can't come back again. On the other hand, if not all, but some of them remain, since there is no more reason for one of them remaining forever rather than another, it would seem that none of them will. But whatever remains after the world has been renewed will remain forever, generation and corruption being done away with. Therefore, plants and animals will altogether cease after the renewal of the world. So he is coming down on no animals.
Well, I
Okay.
disagree with that.
Well, let's write you write your Summa, and then maybe
I will.
Maybe centuries from
Next
now,
week, I'm gonna have a Summa. I'll come
Somebody will
rob
be
it.
studying the Summa Theologia according to Saint Jonathan von Weber Hansberg.
Yes.
Right. Okay. All right.
I like the whole thing about that they can't assert their forms, that they might have another form. I'm like picturing my little Shih Tzu becoming a like bigger dog. Like a tiny, like becoming a wolf or something.
Yeah, like a whole
the
different.
yeah, because that's what it sounds like he's saying. It was kind of interesting the way he said that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Interesting. All right, last paragraph here. Further, and I like this. I think this makes a lot of sense. If the end cease, those things which are directed to the end should cease. Now, animals and plants were made for the upkeep of human life. Wherefore, it is written in Genesis 9:3, even as the green herbs have I delivered all flesh to you. Therefore, when men's animal life ceases, animals and plants should cease. But after this renewal, animal life will cease in man. Therefore, neither plants nor animals ought to remain.
But
So he's saying that the only reason there are animals is because they are of the service of human beings.
won't they still be in the resurrection? Because I mean, Adam and Eve, they were. I mean,
I don't get you.
well,
Wait.
because Adam and Eve were living as intended before the fall, and there are still animals there.
Right.
So then, in the resurrection, of the body and everything, we'll kind of go back to that.
Yeah.
And then, shouldn't there still be animals there to serve us? Still? I mean, that's.
Well, it's a good question.
Probably one we're not going to find out for a while.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Unless Thomas wants to. So I don't know. I mean, you bring up some good questions, John.
I should debate Aquinas.
Yeah.
That's what we should do.
I'd pay for that.
I would too.
Yeah,
man.
I bet you'd take him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I beat him. Yeah.
Just be,
100%.
go easy on him, okay?
I'll try.
Yeah. In this corner, the angelic doctor, the doctor of the doctors.
John, over there.
And then this guy.
The intern.
And the intern, 17-year-old intern,
17-year-old high school homeschool student.
Jonathan von Weber Hansberger. Hansberger, right?
Hansberger, no. That was my middle school
That was a
nickname.
mistake. I'm sorry.
That's when you,
But
you
you have a superior name. I think we can agree.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
All right, Adrian just showed up. He missed the whole show. Adrian, sorry, man.
job,
We're talking about
Adrian.
animals. Maybe he heard what you just said and he can call in. So
Maybe he knows my
to,
butterfly.
To paraphrase what Jonathan von Weber Hansberg just said, if the Adam and Eve apparently were benefited by angels in the state of innocence. I'm sorry, by animals in the state of innocence. So they served some purpose even before there was death. Why would we not need them in heaven, right?
Or in the resurrection.
But heaven, heaven
resurrection.
and the state of innocence are not exactly the same thing.
Right.
They were not in heaven.
Yeah, but
Right?
but when we go to the resurrection, though, once that's when I'd imagine they would come back. I don't think they'd be in heaven because
But heaven is a time of absolute completion,
that's true. I guess.
right? I mean, because they still had free. We'll have free will in heaven, but they could sin. We can't sin in heaven, right? Obviously, Adam and Eve could sin
Yeah.
because they did, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
It also feels like just in general, if you had in heaven, you had the beatific vision, and then there were animals. Like it feels like that would just be kind of like almost a distraction. But then I don't really know what the beatific. I don't know exactly what that would be like with the beatific vision. But if you had animals, it feels almost like an offshoot.
Yeah, it would be kind of cool though.
Yeah.
I mean, to have to think about this. I think about this often. Imagine if there were no like birds or animals and all that. We just lived in a world with human beings. Didn't even know what animals were, right? It was just all human beings and maybe some thought that there might be angels, right? And all of a sudden you see like a bird fly by. Wouldn't that be like the craziest thing in the world? Or like you see like a butterfly and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, but we get to see that every day. Every day we see all these amazing creatures, and I think for the most part we take advantage of them. Imagine if the first time you ever saw a butterfly or a bird
Yeah.
or a dog for that matter, It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Deep Thoughts with Dave Palmer.
That's
All
the
right.
show.
I'm not going to steal your thunder, sis, so it's time for the next segment of Back to the Father. Last week I wrestled.
It's that time of the show where we give Dave too much to think about, and he gives it right back. I do that from memory, and it always goes wrong.
Talk about or think about?
Think about. Both,
maybe you can record it in like a perfect form, and then
With the banjo.
It's way more entertaining when I mess it up, though. Yeah, no, I probably should.
All right. Who wants to go first? Sam, did you come equipped?
I do have some, yeah.
All right.
I can go first.
Oh,
This
yes.
isn't okay. So the one I have is not from the most credible website in the world.
Why
So
do you got-
Wikipedia.
It's not Wikipedia, but it's funtrivia.com.
Wikipedia?
Yeah. So you're saying this may not even be true, right?
Well, it could be false, but
All
I
right.
like how he said that. It
Could be false.
yeah. So
Okay.
the question is what? So you have papal shoes. What is the official color of
Red.
papal? Yeah, yeah.
Oh, come on.
Okay. Well, I heard that and I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Mind blowing.
You didn't know that, huh?
No.
Okay.
I
You
guess it was
surprised
much
Yeah,
easier than I thought.
I think it was my brother-in-law who got little red shoes for his sons when he was a baby. I think it was, and said these are like the papal shoes. so-
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of
Cool.
It's almost kind of what's the word? Ostentatious. It kind of draws attention.
It
the Kind
does.
of these red shoes,
Yeah.
kind of like the Swiss Guard. It's like
Kind of like the
whoa.
ruby red slippers.
Oh yeah.
Is it-
Dorothy.
Yes, Dorothy.
Yeah, there's no place like home.
Exactly.
Okay, Sam, good job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I hope that wasn't too simple.
No,
I thought it was.
no.
No. Yeah. Okay.
Did y'all know that?
I have. No, I didn't.
You didn't
I
know
probably
that.
would have guessed red because red's one of my favorite colors, and I would have
Okay.
been like, "What's the most
So you have
obnoxious color?" I
you have a
could choose?
gradation of knowledge. Like I knew it.
Yeah.
Cecil thinks she would have known it.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
Not necessarily
There you
known it.
go.
I would have probably just guessed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's
All
good.
right. Who's now up next?
I have one
Okay,
for
Jonathan.
once. Okay. So
The man
I'm-
who's going to debate Thomas Aquinas.
It better be good, man.
High school.
I'm taking a church history class. So I've been armed with a few new trivia questions. I'm going to space them out over the course of the next few weeks.
Yay.
So I don't run out of
Okay.
them. All right. So the what is I guess considered by most theologians and historians to be the very first heresy to appear in the early Christian church. What
first
is it?
heresy? Okay,
Yeah,
I think I know.
It's supposed to be so prevalent today in culture.
Okay.
In modern
I think I
culture.
know what it is, but I'll defer to if anybody else wants to guess. I'm
we
gonna
were
write-
just
I
talking
told
about
him
it.
what it
I'm
is.
gonna write
I
it
forgot,
down, and
though.
you tell me if I'm right, and then we'll see if
Oh, don't do this to me. No, because like I think I do, but I like might be wrong.
Yeah. You
Am
got
I
it
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Moving on.
Okay.
You want to share with the rest
You
of the
want
class?
to try to guess?
I think I do, but
I'll
I'm like
throw.
worried
It starts
about
with a G.
a
But
G.
the G is it doesn't
Yeah, I
make the
know.
G sound.
It starts with a
Because I was
G.
gonna say what I was thinking of. What I like. I'm seeing a word in my head, but I don't remember what it is. What was it? It's an ism, right?
Yes. It's an
yeah.
ism.
Oh, there you
Half
go. Yeah.
points.
So now you got the G and the ism. Now you just have to fill in the middle.
Hold on, I'm trying to remember.
Ism.
Gism?
Gism.
No, but it doesn't
Wait,
make
I
a G
don't
sound. So
remember.
it's
Oh, I can't think of it. I don't. The G is throwing
If
me
one,
off.
I can tell you what it believes.
Okay.
So it's basically geared towards the hatred of all things physical, of the material world,
also like a secret knowledge.
Yeah,
You have like a secret
and the
knowledge.
belief that there are two gods, a good and evil. So.
And wasn't the Matrix kind of
The
tied
Matrix
into
based
this?
off of it, yeah.
I-
right.
Yeah, I'm
the
sorry. I don't remember this. The G is really throwing me off because I
Okay.
know it doesn't make the sound, but it's throwing me off.
It's Gnosticism.
Oh, Gnosticism.
Yeah.
Oh, that's considered the first heresy.
So the G and the ism didn't give it away.
No, because I wasn't thinking. I was thinking of different. Like whatever I was thinking of was like not that.
Yeah.
I was not going there.
All right.
Gnosticism. Okay.
Just
yeah.
for the record, 2 and 2.
2 and 2.
Just
All right, it's fine.
Yeah.
Diane, you can turn Dave's mic off, right?
let's see.
All right.
You guys, you're gonna have to step up your game.
All right,
okay?
are you ready? I
All
have
right.
a question that comes from Adrian.
Oh,
So
okay.
hopefully he sent this to me last week, and I hope I don't slaughter the question. But how many books in the Bible did St. Thomas Aquinas comment on?
Whoa. How many books in the entire Bible did he
Yes.
comment on?
goodness.
Now, okay, if Adrian's still watching, do you mean official commentaries? Like a commentary on the Gospel of John? Or do you mean he commented like referring to? Because those are two different questions. And, okay, so
I'm going to
what's
have to refer
the...
to Adrian and see if he says something. We might need to buy
yeah,
some time.
I mean, because he wrote commentaries.
You could just answer both.
Okay. I'm trying to get out of the question.
He
You're
is,
not making
really
it easy.
is. Also,
I
he
would-
sent me them, and he told me, like, He gave me all the list of things.
I think he's talking about official commentaries.
I think he is official.
Because he probably commented on all the books of the Bible, I'm guessing. So I'm going to say there's an official commentary on 12 books of the Bible.
Okay, so that's according to my math. That's wrong because Adrian didn't tell me the actual number, but he said it was 8 plus all the letters of St. Paul, which is 13. I think 13.
We're at 21 then.
And then he
22?
says plus the Catena. I'm not going to say that right. Plus 4, basically. He said plus 4. We'll leave it there.
Is Catena another way of saying 4? Okay, so that would be about 25, 26?
Yeah.
Oh, 25 total.
I'm assuming that I calculated the way he wanted it to be too. So,
all right. I think
there you
Adrian's
go.
already gone.
Well, that's sad. The four.
And he wants us to do
the 4 Gospels is what the way that was.
okay,
Yeah,
the 4 Gospels.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good question. That was a stumper.
I spent a lot of time on that. Clearly.
All right. There are a lot of doctors of the church.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Can each of you name 2 doctors of the church?
I can.
Ding, ding, ding. Can I?
Not including St. Thomas Aquinas.
I want to get ahead of this because I don't want to get
okay.
behind.
Okay. So go ahead and name.
St. Catherine of Siena.
Okay. All right. Very good.
St. Teresa of Avila.
Okay.
I know the
All right. Ding, ding. My turn. St. Alphonsus Liguori.
No.
Okay.
And
I was gonna say that.
Augustine.
Okay.
I was gonna say that.
Oh man. Okay. St. Augustine of Hippo. All right. Very good. Sam.
Well, I had bonus points for St. Alphonsus.
Well, there's like another
Is
31
Saint
of
Therese
them.
of
so.
Lisieux a doctor?
Yes.
She is.
Yes. Very
She is.
good.
There's only 3 female doctors, right?
4.
4. There's one more. You don't forget it.
Is Origen?
No, actually, Origen fell into
I think
heresy.
I know some more. I think.
Yeah. You see, Origen's not even a saint.
Yeah.
Because he fell into heresy. Yeah. So,
Can I for extra
bomb
points?
sound there for Sam, by the way. the Diane's not paying attention. Okay.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
Saint Basil and Saint John Chrysostom.
Chrysostom, definitely. Well, let's see.
You get a negative point for mispronouncing the last name.
Okay,
It's
so we only had to do 2.
Yeah, Chrysostom is one.
Why?
You say Chrysostom?
I say Chrysostom. Yeah.
I
You
thought
say
it was Chrysostom. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I-
have
His feast
I heard a
day's coming
Ukrainian guy say it. I figured he knows better than I do. So
The other one was, you said Basil or Basil?
yeah.
No,
Oh, he's not. I thought he was.
he's not. There you go. All right, so I'll go over some of the ones that
Oh.
you know.
Saint Vladimir of
Putin,
yes. No, wait. No,
the
Kiev.
president of Russia.
No. Saint Vladimir of Kiev. Isn't he? Wasn't he?
No,
I thought he was.
No way.
I thought,
We're getting hit.
Okay, you're getting
Man.
definitely.
I feel like there's a couple of big ones we're forgetting.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
some of the ones that you'll be like, oh yeah, of course. I mean, come on. Saint Ambrose. Yeah, there you go.
wasn't Bellarmine one? Bellarmine.
The guy. This may come as a surprise. The saint that you pray to when you lose things.
St.
Oh,
Anthony.
Saint-
St.
Really?
Anthony. Oh, that's right.
He's
He's
a
a
doctor?
doctor.
Saint
He's a
Anthony.
doctor.
I
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I forgot that.
Saint Anthony
Wow.
of Padua. Yeah. San Antonio was named after him. Saint Athanasius.
Ooh.
Oh.
I mean, come on now.
Is St. Francis de
Yeah, I was gonna-
Sales?
Yes.
yeah, Saint
Yes.
Fran-
Very
that would
good.
make sense.
Good,
Good,
Sam.
John.
Okay.
Was
Yeah.
Saint Dominic
Thank you.
the doctor?
No.
What
He's
about?
not.
We could just go all the
That's
founders
weird.
with Saint Benedict.
No, yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, Saint Benedict would have to, wouldn't he? Because I mean,
Saint Benedict.
Let's see. Saint Benedict. That's a good guess. And no.
Oh.
I feel like we should change that. We should make him a
Put me
doctor.
on
All right,
top of when I get it wrong.
I'll quickly go through the rest of them because we're about out of time. Saint Albertus Magnus, who was the teacher of Aquinas.
Oh.
Okay.
Whoa.
Imagine you you're a doctor of the church and your teacher is a doctor of the church.
But you're like the doctor of that doctor. So you're a doctor and you make a doctor that's better than you.
Yeah.
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 The student has become the master.
student
Yes.
Okay. Saint Anselm of Canterbury.
Okay.
Saint Basil the Great. You said that.
Yeah.
Didn't you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Redeem. Take that bomb.
Oh,
Send
yeah.
it away. The Venerable Bede.
The venerable Bede.
The Venerable Bede. Saint Bernard of Clairvaux.
Oh.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. That
Yeah. Saint Bonaventure. Come on
Oh.
now. Saint Cyril of Alexandria. Saint Cyril of Jerusalem. Saint Ephraim the Syrian. Pope Saint Gregory the Great. Saint Gregory Nazianzen. Saint Hilary of Poitiers, Saint Hildegard of Bingen, female.
That's the one I was
Yeah,
missing.
and she was made doctor by Benedict XVI.
Oh, cool.
Saint Isidore of Seville, Saint Jerome. Okay, Saint John Damascene, Saint John of Avila.
Oh, I knew I was thinking. I was forgetting one.
Saint John of the Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Saint Lawrence of Brindisi.
Okay.
Pope Saint Leo the Great. Saint Peter Canisius.
Nah.
Saint Peter Chrysalgus. Saint Peter Damian. Saint Robert Bellarmine. There you go.
I think we did all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Was
only
Arsenius one?
Arsenio Hall? Who?
No. Dennis, he doesn't follow.
You guys are so young. You don't even know who I'm talking about, Arsenio Hall. Diane knows. You don't know who Arsenio Hall is?
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
Okay. So I wonder why that joke fell flat. He's an old talk show host.
Oh. What show did he host?
He would always do this. Remember that, Diane?
Cranking the chain.
see, Diane remembers.
Hosted late night
I know
television.
something.
All right.
It was
Yeah.
during the
Late night
MC
show.
Hammer days.
Yeah.
Oh, from like the 90s?
Yeah.
That's the
90s.
period. See, the period I don't know. I know like really old stuff. Like, not really old. I'm sorry. Apologies if anyone's listening is from like the 40s and 50s.
You weren't even born then.
But like the 40s and 50s, I like know that stuff. I know nothing from the 90s at all, and that's the time I was born.
Yeah.
All right. Real quickly, Adrian said, please do a show on was there death before the fall? New heaven and new earth would be another great topic. I'd argue Adam and Eve didn't need animals in heaven. The diversity of creation isn't a necessity. It's simply more fitting. Okay, he says Adam and Eve didn't need animals in heaven. Well, we're talking about it being during the time of innocence, right?
Yeah.
And then, okay, he said, then he corrects himself, didn't need animals on earth. Okay, they didn't need them, but
They
somehow,
had them.
Yeah.
So then-
but they were creating them, I don't know, maybe in light of the fact that God knew there was going to be a fall. I mean, because
That's true.
Maybe.
the fall didn't surprise God, right?
Yeah.
So he
that's
creates
true.
them realizing the man's going to mess it up and we're going to need it after the fall, right? So might as
Yeah.
well make them now.
That's true, I guess.
All right. Very good. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Jonathan, Sam Cavana, Sissel, Diane, thanks for handling all the calls. Thanks, everybody, for watching. God bless you. No show next week because we're doing a share-a-thon, but we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us for Back to the Father. And don't forget, the glory of God is the human person fully alive. If you have comments about the show, email Dave Palmer at grnonline.com.